The gym pulsed with warmth and light, streamers fluttering in pink and gold, folding chairs pushed back to make room for small, spinning feet. A slow song floated through the air, "What a wonderful world." Laughter shimmered beneath the music, a soft chorus of camera clicks and proud fathers kneeling to fix tiny tiaras. But near the edge of the dance floor, beside a table lined with melting punch and half-eaten cupcakes, stood a little black girl. Amara, barefoot, toes curling against the waxed floor. Her yellow dress was wrinkled, her paper crown slightly crushed, yet she held it like treasure. She watched other girls dance, some standing on their father's shoes, others twirling until dizzy. Every laugh around her felt louder than the music. Every spin a reminder. Amara clutched the crown tighter. Her lips trembled, eyes flicking to the door each time it opened. Maybe, just maybe, someone would walk in for her. No one did. Her chest rose and fell, then she took a tiny step forward. Her gaze locked on a tall man standing by the exit, a man who didn't belong here. Ethan Ward, mid-40s, dark suit that screamed wealth even under cheap gym lights. He stood stiffly, watching from a distance like a man misplaced. In one hand, a cup of black coffee. In the other, his phone, the screen lighting his face in a soft, cold glow. A few parents whispered, glancing at him, everyone knew that face. Ethan Ward, the billionaire who once appeared on magazine covers, the genius CEO turned recluse after tragedy. He rarely appeared in public anymore, and when he did, never without cameras, never without cause. But tonight, no cameras. No entourage. Just him. Maybe curiosity had brought him, his company funded the new school lab. Maybe guilt. Or loneliness. Or both. Amara stared, the way a child studies something she doesn't understand but feels drawn to. Something in his stillness called to her. She took a shaky breath, crossed the floor, and stopped right in front of him. Heads turned. The music kept playing, softer now, as though the speakers were listening too. Her voice, small but certain, cut through the room like a candle in the dark. "Can you be my dance partner, please?" Conversation stuttered. Even the air seemed to pause. Ethan blinked, lowering his coffee. He looked down, way down. Into her big brown eyes, full of something he hadn't seen in years, uncomplicated hope. He opened his mouth but found no words. 100 adults stared. Someone's phone stopped recording mid-video. Amara swallowed, her voice smaller now, barely above a whisper. "Everyone's dancing with their dads, and I don't have one." The words cracked open the silence. A few women pressed hands to their mouths. A teacher turned away. The DJ looked frozen, one hand on the fader. Ethan's grip tightened on his cup until it bent slightly. He wasn't supposed to be here long. He had planned to give a polite speech, hand over a donation check, maybe take one photo, then leave before the music started. He didn't plan on this. And yet, something inside him, something long buried, moved. For a second, he saw another little girl. His own. Same age. Same curls. Same small hand reaching for him in a hospital hallway he never walked down in time. The memory flashed like lightning, blinding and gone. Amara tilted her head. "You don't have to if you don't want to." She looked down, fiddling with her paper crown. "I just thought, maybe you look like you could dance nice." The line rippled through the crowd, half laughter, half heartbreak. Ethan exhaled slowly, a sound that could have been a sigh or a sob. His phone buzzed again. He silenced it. Then, quietly, as if unsure of his own voice, he said, "I don't dance." Amara blinked up. "That's okay. I can teach you." The DJ's hand froze on the turntable. The song shifted, gentle trumpet notes swelling. "I see trees of green." Someone whispered, "Oh my God, he's actually going to." Ethan set his coffee aside, straightened his jacket, and crouched just enough to meet her eyes. The light softened around them, gym fluorescence becoming something almost cinematic. "You really think you can teach me?" Amara nodded, all courage and sincerity. "I already taught my teddy bear." A laugh escaped him, a quiet, startled thing. Maybe the first real laugh in years. He hesitated one more heartbeat, then offered his hand. She took it instantly, small fingers wrapping around his larger ones like it was the most natural thing in the world. The crowd erupted into applause. Someone whispered, "Record this," but most just smiled through tears. Ethan let her guide him toward the dance floor. His shoes squeaked once against the gym floor, awkward, unpracticed. She giggled. "You're supposed to move with the music, not fight it." He looked down at her, at the paper crown tilting sideways, at her small bare feet stepping with perfect rhythm, and for a fleeting moment, he felt time collapse. The noise, the cameras, the guilt, all dissolved. He was just a man holding a little girl's hand, learning how to take one more step. The song swelled. Streamers swayed overhead like ribbons of light. And across the dance floor, people whispered, "Who is she?" Not realizing they were watching the beginning of something neither of them knew they needed. As they turned slowly under the string lights, the paper crown slipped from Amara's hair and landed near Ethan's foot. He bent to pick it up, careful, reverent, and placed it gently back on her head. She smiled, radiant, gap-toothed, and whispered, "See? You're not so bad at this." He smiled back, the kind that hurts and heals at once. For the first time in 3 years, Ethan Ward didn't feel like a billionaire. He felt human. And as the crowd clapped, the world seemed to tilt ever so slightly towards something kinder. The applause died down slowly, replaced by the soft hum of chatter and camera clicks. The music faded into a lively tune now, fathers spinning their daughters again. But for Ethan and Amara, the moment lingered, suspended somewhere between embarrassment and wonder. Amara was still smiling, gripping his hand like she'd known him forever. "You did good for your first time," she said proudly. Ethan chuckled under his breath. "I think I stepped on your foot." "Only once," she said, grinning. "You get better fast." Her laughter came like sunlight, pure and unself-conscious. It startled him how easily it filled the room inside him that had been empty for years. A whisper from the sidelines. "That's Ethan Ward, isn't it? The tech guy. The billionaire. He's here. With her." Parents began pulling out their phones again, trying to capture proof that this was really happening. Ethan noticed, the way cameras shifted in his direction, the murmurs like static behind glass. He'd lived through it before, the endless attention, the speculation. It was the reason he avoided crowds, why he'd hidden for so long. The idea of being seen had become something like fear. He forced a small smile, leaned closer to Amara. "Looks like we've started a scene." She shrugged, unfazed. "That's what dancers do. They make people look." He couldn't help it, another laugh escaped him. How did a 6-year-old know exactly what to say? A teacher approached gently, hand over heart. "That was beautiful, Mr. Ward. We didn't expect." He interrupted softly. "Neither did I." He bent slightly toward Amara. "Do you live nearby?" Amara nodded. "Across the park. My mom works at the hospital. She's not here tonight." Her tone faltered on the last sentence, but she straightened quickly, adding, "She said she'll dance with me next year if she's not too tired." Something tightened in Ethan's chest. "So you came alone?" "Not alone," she said simply. "There's always music." Her words hit him harder than they should have. He studied her, small shoulders, wrinkled dress, the faint smudge of frosting on her cheek, and saw courage where most adults would have folded under loneliness. The teacher smiled awkwardly. "Amara's one of our brightest." She loves dancing. Her mom couldn't afford the uniform last semester, so she made one out of her old curtains. Ethan glanced at the little yellow dress. Suddenly it made sense. Stitched with love, imperfect, but glowing all the same. He turned back to Amara. Your mother must be proud. She is, Amara said softly. Even when she's sad. Ethan hesitated. Why is she sad? Because Daddy's gone. The words fell out so naturally it made the air tremble. Children can speak grief like a language they're born knowing. He wanted to say I'm sorry, but the words wouldn't come. His throat locked. It was a feeling he knew too well, that hollow echo when someone is gone forever. A bell rang, signaling the end of the dance. Fathers lined up for photos with their daughters. Teachers passed out ribbons that said, best smile, silliest spin, most glitter. Amara watched, hugging her paper crown again. Do I get one too? She asked the teacher politely. The woman hesitated. Oh honey, we only printed enough for. Ethan stepped forward, gently clearing his throat. Give her mine. The teacher blinked. Yours? He smiled faintly. Well, technically, I'm her partner tonight, aren't I? He knelt down, pinning the tiny ribbon, best teamwork, onto Amara's dress. Her eyes shone like she'd just won the world. Now it's official, he said. You and me, partners. Forever partners. He froze, unsure how to answer. For as long as you want me to be, he said quietly. A camera flash went off. That picture, a billionaire kneeling before a barefoot girl with a ribbon between them, would later circle the globe within hours. But in that moment, neither of them noticed. It was too sincere to be staged. As people began leaving, Ethan offered to walk Amara outside. The night air was crisp, the parking lot wet with the earlier rain. Amara hopped over puddles barefoot, crown still crooked, ribbon fluttering. Mom says you shouldn't walk alone at night, she told him. He raised an eyebrow. She told you that, but you're barefoot in the dark. I'm brave, she said. Besides, you're with me. He smiled, a real one this time, not the rehearsed kind that came with business meetings. I suppose I am. When they reached the sidewalk, she pointed toward the park. Our apartment's that way. Mom's probably home by now. She works all day and night at the hospital. But she always keeps the light on for me. He looked at her, quiet for a long moment. You walked here alone. She shrugged. It's not far. I just wanted to see the lights and music. I wasn't supposed to go inside, but the door was open. A faint ache tightened behind his ribs. You know, sneaking into dances is usually frowned upon. Then I'm lucky you didn't tell on me, she said with a grin. He studied her, small, fragile, but fierce. Something about her reminded him of another little girl who'd once broken every rule to make him smile. His daughter, Lily, who'd sneaked into his office during a board meeting just to hand him a crayon drawing labeled Best Dancer Dad Ever. He hadn't even looked up that day. Now, years later, it was too late to tell her he was sorry. But standing here, in the cold glow of a streetlight with this brave, fatherless girl, he felt that apology trying to find its way out. Amara, he said softly. Do you know who I am? She tilted her head. You're Mr. Rhythm. He blinked. Mr. What? Mr. Rhythm, she said proudly. Because you dance like you've been practicing for a long time, even if you don't know it yet. He laughed, low, genuine, surprised. That's probably the nicest thing anyone's ever called me. She shrugged. It's true. And you smiled. Mom says smiles are rare, you should keep them when they happen. He looked down at her again. At this tiny force of light standing barefoot on wet concrete, and realized she'd just summarized everything his therapists and self-help books had tried to teach him. You're wise for 6, he murmured. I'm 6.5, she corrected with mock pride. That's almost 7. He nodded gravely. Then you must know all the secrets of the universe. She giggled. Not all. Just the ones that make people dance. A black SUV pulled up quietly by the curb, his driver, expression unreadable. Mr. Ward, the man said gently. We should go. It's getting late. Ethan nodded slowly, then crouched one more time to meet Amara's eyes. You should head home, little one. It's late for brave girls. She nodded. Will I see you again? He hesitated, the question striking deeper than it should have. Maybe, he said softly. Do you want to? Amara's eyes lit up. Of course. I still need to teach you the twirl part. He smiled, straightening his jacket. Then I guess I'll have to practice. She extended her pinky. Promise? He looked at her small hand, hesitated, then hooked his pinky with hers. Promise. As his car drove away, he glanced through the window one last time, the small figure of Amara skipping across puddles, holding her crown against the wind. In the rearview mirror, the city lights blurred, and for a heartbeat, he thought he saw Lily again, twirling under the same song that still haunted him. He looked down at his suit pocket. The paper heart sticker she'd pinned earlier was still there, bright red against his black jacket. He smiled faintly. For the first time in years, the weight on his chest felt just a little lighter. The next morning came softly, sunlight spilling across Ethan Ward's penthouse like it was afraid to wake him. His phone buzzed again and again, notifications, emails, missed calls. The video from the dance had gone viral overnight. Hashtag billionaire with a heart. Hashtag fatherless but fearless. Hashtag dance partner goals. The world loved it. Ethan hated that he didn't. He sat at the kitchen island, staring at the tablet replaying the moment on loop. The camera had caught the smile he didn't know he still had. Amara, her crown tilted sideways, leading him like she owned the world. He muted the video, but not before hearing her voice. Can you be my dance partner, please? Small, brave, unguarded. It hit him again, right in the chest. For the first time in 3 years, Ethan didn't turn the tablet off. He just watched, quietly, until the footage ended. The same community center. Sunlight filters through the tall windows, revealing clusters of kids practicing routines for next month's spring fair. Amara is in the middle, clapping off beat, laughing, teaching other kids how to twirl like queens. Her mother, Nia, watches from the doorway in her nurse scrubs, tired but proud. She doesn't notice Ethan walk in until the murmurs start. The billionaire is back. He's dressed simpler today, no suit, no tie, sleeves rolled to the elbow. Still too formal for a children's rehearsal, but his smile softens it. Amara spots him first. Mr. Rhythm, she squeals, abandoning her dance group to run across the room. Ethan kneels just in time to catch her mid-hop. You remember me, he says, almost shyly. Of course, she grins. I told everyone I was your teacher. You forgot to come to class. The room ripples with laughter. Nia crosses her arms, trying not to smile. You didn't tell me your new friend was the Ethan Ward, she says, half accusingly, half amused. Ethan stands, awkward. I hope that's not a problem. Depends, she replies. Are you planning to make her your business partner, too? Amara jumps in, tugging his sleeve. We're dance partners, mommy. He's learning. Nia sighs but her eyes soften. Then he better start practicing. The kids clear a space in the center. Amara drags him there, giggling as he protests. I really don't. No excuses. You promised. She cues the speaker with her tiny hand. A jazzy tune spills through the gym. Ethan stumbles through the first few steps, the kids laugh good-naturedly. Amara shows him, step left, step right, twirl, then bow. See? Easy. He tries again, still clumsy, but less hopeless. She claps. Told you. You got rhythm in there somewhere. He chuckles, sweat forming at his temples. You're quite the teacher. Mom says if you teach people happy things, you stay happy longer. He pauses. She's not wrong. Nia watches from the side, arms folded but smiling. For the first time in a long time, her daughter looks weightless. After practice, Ethan helps rearrange chairs. Kids leave one by one, parents waving goodbye. The sunlight shifts into evening amber. Only Amara, Nia, and Ethan remain. Nia packs Amara's dance shoes into a worn bag. She hasn't stopped talking about you, she says quietly. Ethan smiles. She's unforgettable. Nia glances at him. You should know, she wasn't supposed to be there that night. She begged me to let her sneak in. Said maybe if she smiled big enough, someone would want to dance with her. Ethan's smile fades into something softer, almost painful. She made a believer out of me. You lost someone, Nia says, not as a question but as a fact. He nods slowly. A daughter. And her mother. It's been a while. There's no pity in her eyes, only recognition. I'm sorry, she says. Amara lost her dad last year. Construction accident. She thinks he can see her every time she dances. Ethan looks toward the little girl now spinning near the window, humming to herself. Then he's watching a star. Nia's lips curve, faintly. You're good with her. He chuckles. No. She's good with me. Later, outside the community center. The sun is gone, replaced by streetlights flickering over the quiet street. Ethan walks them to their car. Amara skips ahead, making up songs. Nia unlocks the door, but before climbing in, she turns to him. She's been happier this week than I've seen in months. Thank you, for showing up. He nods. She showed me up, actually. I'll have to practice before next time. Next time, she teases. If her schedule allows, he says with a half smile. Nia laughs, low and melodic. We'll see. She's in high demand. He leans lightly against the car door. You must be proud. Every day, she says. Then, after a pause, even when I'm scared for her. He tilts his head. Scared? She trusts people too easily, Nia admits quietly. The world doesn't always deserve her kindness. Ethan nods slowly. Maybe the world needs it more than it deserves it. For a long moment, they just stand there, two people carrying invisible ghosts. Sharing the kind of silence that feels like understanding. Amara interrupts from the back seat. Mommy, ask Mr. Rhythm to come to the fair next week. We're doing the big dance. Nia chuckles. Don't pressure him, baby. Please. Amara pleads, pressing her face against the window. You promised to learn the twirl. Ethan smiles, raising his hand in mock surrender. A promise is a promise. I'll be there. Amara cheers, pumping her fists. Yay! Don't forget your crown. He laughs. I'll bring a spare, just in case. As their car pulls away, Ethan watches the taillights disappear down the quiet road. The world feels strangely still. The last notes of the jazz tune from earlier echo faintly in his head. He whispers to no one. I guess I'm dancing again, Lily. He looks down, the red paper sticker still sits inside his wallet, carefully smoothed and preserved. His fingers brush against it, and for the first time in years, his smile feels unforced. Ethan practicing in his office late at night, tripping over a rug but laughing at himself. Watching dance tutorials online, mimicking moves with surprising commitment. Pausing often, thinking of Amara's words, "If you teach people happy things, you stay happy longer." Ending with him writing a text he doesn't send, "You were right, Amara. I'm learning." That night, Nia tucks Amara into bed. "You really like Mr. Rhythm, huh?" Amara yawns. "He's funny. And sad. But he's trying." Nia smooths her curls. "Trying is the bravest thing anyone can do." Amara smiles sleepily. "He said he'd come to the fair. Do you think he will?" Nia hesitates, then kisses her forehead. "I think he already has." The week of the spring fair arrived like sunlight after long rain. Banners fluttered along the fences of the community park, each one painted with bright handprints and glittered letters, "Families that dance, heal together." Children ran between booths, balloons bobbing in the breeze. Parents balanced cups of lemonade and laughter. And at the far end, under a white canopy, the stage waited, polished wood, string lights, a hand-painted sign, "Spring Rhythm Showcase." Ethan Ward stood near the back, trying not to stand out. It was impossible. Even in his rolled-up sleeves and worn sneakers, people whispered when he passed. He'd been on every talk show that week, though he'd refused them all. The world loved the idea of the billionaire with a heart, but they didn't know the truth. That behind every act of kindness, there was guilt. Still, he was here. For her. Amara spotted him before he could find her. She broke from her dance group mid-stretch, squealing his name across the park. "Mr. Rhythm. You came." He knelt as she barreled into his arms. "You doubted me? Mom said you might be busy being famous again." He groaned, half smiling. "Remind me to have a word with your mother." From behind the cotton candy stand, Nia waved, half amused, half shy. Her hair was loose today, sunlight catching on it like silk. For a moment, Ethan forgot to breathe. Amara tugged his hand, breaking the spell. "We have a surprise for you." "Oh, do you?" "You'll see," she said, eyes twinkling. "You have to sit in the front row." He nodded, letting her drag him through the crowd toward a folding chair with his name taped on it. "VIP, Mr. Rhythm." He chuckled. "I've never had a better title." The show began with cheerful chaos. Kids tap dancing out of sync, a father in a sequined vest missing every beat, applause and laughter filling the air. Then came Amara's group, 6 little girls in mismatched dresses, each holding a paper heart taped to their chest. The opening notes played, "What a Wonderful World." Ethan froze. That song. The one his wife used to hum while cooking. The one his daughter insisted they dance to every Friday night in their living room. The one he'd stopped listening to after the accident because it hurt too much to remember. He tried to look away, but the music pulled him under. Flashback. A sunlit living room. His daughter Lily, 6 years old, wearing a red tutu over her pajamas, spinning clumsily while his wife, Claire, laughed from the kitchen. "Come dance, Daddy." "Not now, sweetheart. I've got to finish this call." The memory cracked mid-sentence, like a glass shattering. Tires screeching. A phone ringing unanswered. Hospital lights. A child's pink shoe lying on sterile tiles. The sound of "What a Wonderful World" still playing faintly from his car radio outside. He hadn't danced since that night. Back to present. Amara twirled at the center of the stage, barefoot, fearless. Her laughter carried through the crowd. He felt his chest tighten, every muscle warring between joy and grief. Her every movement echoed Lily's, unrehearsed, unself-conscious, alive. And then he saw it. Something she held in her hand, small and shiny. A locket. The way she clutched it reminded him of one he'd given Lily years ago, a tiny silver heart with "Dance with me always" engraved inside. He leaned forward instinctively. When Amara knelt for the ending pose, the locket slipped from her fingers, catching sunlight. Ethan's breath caught. He'd know that design anywhere. He'd commissioned only two. One for his wife. One for Lily. After the performance, applause thundered through the park. Parents cheered, cameras flashed. Amara bounded down the stage straight into his arms. "Did we do good?" she asked breathlessly. He knelt, heart hammering. "You did more than good. You were." Words failed him. "You were magic." As she hugged him, he glanced at the locket dangling from her hand. "Where did you get this?" he asked softly. Amara looked down. "Oh, this? Mommy found it at the hospital a long time ago. It was in the lost and found drawer. She said maybe it belonged to someone who needed it back, but I begged to keep it." Her tone brightened. "It's my lucky charm. I wear it when I dance so Daddy can see me shine." Ethan's throat closed. His pulse roared in his ears. May I see it?" She nodded, placing it carefully in his palm. He opened it. Inside, engraved faintly, were the words, "Dance with me always, E.W." The world seemed to tilt. He blinked hard, fighting the wave that rose in his chest. His initials. His handwriting. His lost locket. The crowd blurred, the noise faded until all he could hear was the faint hum of the song still echoing from the speakers. "Amara," he whispered. "Your mom, she found this." She said. "When she worked night shift. She said it looked too sad to stay in a drawer." Ethan looked across the park. Mia was talking to another nurse near the refreshment tent, unaware. Sunlight rimmed her face. He remembered headlines years ago. "Nurse saves passengers after highway crash." He'd ignored them then, too broken to care. But now it hit him like a revelation. The accident that took his family happened near St. Mercy Hospital. The same place Nia worked. The same night. He felt dizzy. The silver locket trembled in his hand. She was there, he murmured to himself. She was there that night. Later, as the fare wound down, he found Nia near the parking lot, packing up supplies. Amara had fallen asleep in her lap, clutching a balloon. He approached quietly, holding out the locket. "This belongs to me." Nia blinked, surprised. "To you?" He nodded, voice low. "It was my daughter's." She stared at him, understanding dawning like dawn itself. "The car crash on Highway 19, that was you." He exhaled shakily. "You were the nurse on shift." "We tried," she said softly, eyes glistening. "We did everything we could." He nodded, unable to speak. Tears welled and fell before he could stop them. "You saved so many others," he whispered. "And somehow, you gave this back to me." Nia reached out, gently closing his hand over the locket. Maybe it found its way home for a reason. He looked at her, broken open and breathless. "I thought I'd lost every piece of them." "Maybe not," she said quietly. "Maybe you were meant to dance again." Her words felt like forgiveness. Like resurrection. He smiled through tears, whispering, "Thank you. For both of them." She shook her head. "Thank Amara. She never lets the world stop dancing." That night, as Ethan returned home, he placed the locket on his desk beside the red paper sticker. Two fragile things, one from the past, one from the present, both reminding him that love never truly disappears. It just changes its rhythm. He turned on the record player. The needle scratched, and Louis Armstrong's voice filled the room. "I see trees of green." He closed his eyes and swayed, slow, imperfect, but free. For the first time in years, Ethan Ward danced. Not to forget. But to remember. By dawn, the fair's magic had spilled into the digital world. Clips of Amara's dance and the moment Ethan had lifted her into the air, his face wet with tears, her laughter bright as bells, flooded every platform. The caption that stuck was simple. She made a billionaire believe in dancing again. It wasn't just a trend, it was a story people felt. Comments poured in from everywhere, parents, widows, strangers who saw their own loss reflected in his awkward grace and the child's fearless joy. And while the world built its headlines, the man at the center of it woke to the sound of birds and silence. His phone glowed with messages from journalists, his board members, his foundation's PR head. He ignored them all. Instead, Ethan brewed coffee and stared out over the city, the locket and paper sticker sitting side by side on his counter. The two tiny objects looked absurdly small against the endless skyline. For the first time, he wasn't sure if he wanted to hide from the attention or follow where it was pulling him. Mercy Hospital, later that morning. Nia adjusted her scrub top in the mirror of the break room. The night shift had been brutal, 2 emergencies, 1 power outage, but she'd made it through. She checked her phone, expecting the usual texts from Amara's teacher. Instead, her inbox was chaos. Your daughter's everywhere. Is that Ethan Ward? You're on Good Morning America's feed. She opened one video, and there it was, her daughter's small hands holding Ethan's face as he laughed, the crowd clapping. The comments scrolled so fast she couldn't keep up. Tears gathered before she realized she was smiling. Oh, baby girl. A knock sounded at the door. She turned, and nearly dropped her phone. Ethan stood there, holding 2 cups of coffee and a paper bag. He looked impossibly out of place amid the sterile white tiles and antiseptic smell. You shouldn't be here, she whispered, half flustered, half amused. I brought breakfast, he said simply. And maybe a thank you. She blinked. You don't owe me that. Maybe not. But I owe her, he said, nodding toward a photo of Amara taped to Nia's locker, missing a front tooth, grinning wide. She gave me something I thought I'd buried. He set the bag on the counter, muffins, still warm. Blueberry. She said they're your favorite. Nia raised an eyebrow. She told you that? He smiled. She tells me everything. I think I've been adopted. Her laugh came easier this time. That sounds about right. They sat at the small break table, sipping coffee while the hospital buzzed around them. For the first time in years, Ethan felt something like peace in the noise. You must think the world's gone mad, Nia said, scrolling through another wave of headlines. The world's always been mad, he replied. It just dances differently every week. She smiled. You really are a strange man, Mr. Ward. Ethan, he corrected softly. Please. Their eyes met, warm, uncertain, human. TV screens across the city replay the clip, reporters call it, the dance that healed a billionaire. The school principal gives interviews about Amara's bright spirit and kindness. Nia hides from reporters outside their building, laughing at the absurdity of it all. Ethan's board of directors schedules a press conference. He cancels it, insisting the story belongs to the little girl, not the brand. One evening, a week later, they found themselves back at the park. The city was quieter, the sun a soft orange behind the trees. Amara chased pigeons near the swings while Ethan and Nia sat on a bench. He handed her a folded envelope. A proposal, he said. She frowned, teasing. Already? You move fast. He chuckled. Not that kind of proposal. Inside, she found architectural sketches, the playground she'd once dreamed of but never believed she'd see. You said the school needed a safer outdoor space. Let's build one. Together. Nia blinked, touched. You don't have to. I want to, he interrupted. Let me do something that means more than headlines. She hesitated, eyes bright. You really don't do anything halfway, do you? Not anymore, he said quietly. She taught me that. They watched Amara climb the slide, her laughter carrying across the field. You know, Nia said, when I first found that locket, I thought about turning it in. But something told me to hold on to it. That it belonged to someone who'd need it later. You were right, Ethan murmured. You've been right about a lot of things. Nia looked at him sideways. Like what? Like teaching people happy things, he said, smiling faintly. You stay happy longer. Her laugh rang like bells. That's Amara's rule, not mine. Still true. A few nights later. The hospital's pediatric ward glowed with fairy lights. Ethan had quietly funded new murals, toys, books, never publicly, never branded. The staff called it the Rhythm Wing, a private joke among them. Amara stood in the hallway, teaching two small patients how to do her spin and laugh move. Nia watched, hand over her heart. Ethan stood beside her, hands in pockets, a quiet smile playing at his lips. She makes this place lighter, he said. She does that everywhere, Nia replied. A nurse walked by, whispering, the billionaire who dances, who would have guessed? He leaned closer. Maybe they'll stop saying that one day. What do you want them to say? Nia asked. He thought for a moment. That he remembered how to be human. Later that night, Ethan and Nia walked Amara home. The city hummed softly, streetlights shimmered on the wet pavement. Amara held both their hands, swinging between them. When's the playground gonna be ready? She asked. Soon, Ethan said. We're working on the design. Can I draw it? You can name it, he replied. She gasped. Really? Absolutely. What would you call it? Amara thought for a long second. The dance garden. Because everyone who comes in has to dance at least once. Ethan smiled. Then it settled. They reached the apartment building. Nia unlocked the door. Amara hugged him tight, whispering, Don't forget to practice, Mr. Rhythm. He crouched to her level. Always. As she disappeared inside, Nia lingered at the doorway. You've done more for her than you know, she said softly. She did more for me, he replied. Both of you did. For a long moment, neither moved. The air between them hummed with something unspoken, something fragile but real. You don't have to carry it alone anymore, Nia said gently. The guilt. The silence. He swallowed hard. I think I'm learning that. The next morning. Headlines shifted again, photos of Ethan and Nia at the park, Amara drawing playground sketches, volunteers joining in. The internet dubbed it the Dance Garden Project. But beyond the noise, something quieter bloomed. Ethan began visiting the hospital weekly, reading to children, helping Nia with late-night coffee runs. Their laughter grew easy, unguarded. One evening, as the city lights glowed below his balcony, he placed the locket back around his neck. Not as a memorial, but as a promise. He whispered into the night. I'm dancing again, Lily. This time, for real. The following weeks rolled by with the steady rhythm of something new, something that wasn't wealth or obligation or grief. It was life. The empty lot beside the community center buzzed with laughter and noise. Bulldozers idled while volunteers painted wooden planks. Children ran between tables where bright paint cans waited. A handmade banner read. Coming soon, the dance garden. Ethan stood in a pair of jeans dusted with sawdust, holding a hammer wrong end up. Nia laughed from a few feet away, sleeves rolled, clipboard in hand. You really don't build things, do you? I build companies, he said, squinting at the beam. Wood is not my area of expertise. That's obvious. Amara danced between them, streaks of blue paint on her cheeks. Mr. Rhythm, Mommy said you should nail that board before the wind does it for you. He grinned, lifting the hammer like a sword. Yes, ma'am. Everyone laughed. For once, laughter didn't make him feel like a fraud. It felt earned. Nia handed him a paper cup of lemonade. Their fingers brushed, quick but lingering. You're doing great, she said quietly. You make it sound like I've never done anything useful. You're learning, she said. That's useful. He smiled, studying her. The way sunlight caught the edge of her jaw. The way her eyes crinkled when she teased him. He didn't say what he was thinking, that she made healing look possible. A week later, Nia accepted Ethan's hesitant invitation to visit his lakeside property, the one he'd left empty since his wife and daughter's passing. Amara ran ahead down the stone path, squealing. This place looks like a castle. A lonely one, Ethan said softly. The house was vast but silent. White drapes, polished floors, everything in place yet somehow hollow. Nia stepped inside, taking it in. You live here alone. Mostly I work here, he said. Living's been harder. She glanced around. Every corner seemed frozen in time, like a museum for the life he'd lost. On the piano sat a framed photo, his wife and daughter, mid-laughter, sunlight streaming behind them. Amara wandered up to it, tracing the edge of the frame. She's pretty, she whispered. She looks like you, mister. Rhythm. Ethan nodded, voice thin. She was everything. Nia met his gaze, soft, understanding. You kept the memories safe. Safe, maybe. But not alive. Silence held for a long moment. Then Amara plopped herself on the rug, patting the floor. You have space here. You should fill it up again. He blinked. Fill it? With people. With music. Her words landed like a key turning in a lock. He nodded slowly. Maybe you're right. Nia smiled. She usually is. The filling of the house. Ethan opens the curtains for the first time in years, sunlight pouring in. Amara tapes crayon drawings on the fridge, labeled Mr. Rhythm's Dance House. Nia bakes cookies with Amara in the huge, once silent kitchen. Ethan, still in his work shirt, leans on the counter watching them, smiling as Flower dusts his expensive watch. The house begins to breathe again. That evening, rain pattered softly outside. Nia and Ethan sat on the porch, a soft jazz record playing indoors. It feels strange, he said. Letting people back in. Strange means you're changing, she replied. And change means you're alive again. He looked at her for a long time. Were you always this wise, or did nursing make you this way? Being broke and heartbroken did, she said, half laughing. Nursing just gave me uniforms. He chuckled, then grew quiet. When my wife and daughter died, I thought my life ended, too. I hid behind work because it was the only place I could pretend I was still useful. She nodded. Grief makes us builders of walls. And you? He asked gently. Did you build one? Of course, she said. But then Amara came with her crayons and cracked it open. You can't stay broken when someone depends on you to smile. They sat in silence after that. Only the rain spoke. And somewhere between the drops, something unnamed grew, soft, inevitable. The dance garden opened on a golden afternoon. Children flooded the new playground, slides shaped like music notes, benches painted in bright colors. The centerpiece was a circular dance pad powered by motion sensors, each step lighting up soft hues across the floor. The plaque read, "For those who keep dancing, even when it rains." Ethan stood beside Nia and Amara as the ribbon was cut. Reporters flashed photos, but this time he didn't mind. Amara twirled, shouting, "It's ours." He bent down, whispering, "It's yours, kiddo." She grinned. But you helped. So it's ours. The sound of laughter and music filled the garden. Nia leaned closer, her shoulder brushing his. You did good, Mr. Rhythm. He smiled. We did. Later, as twilight fell, they sat by the edge of the small pond near the garden. Amara fed crumbs to ducks, singing under her breath. Ethan stared at the water's reflection. You know what I realized today? Nia turned. What's that? I didn't save her, he said, nodding toward Amara. She saved me. Nia's voice softened. Sometimes healing is mutual. He hesitated. When I saw you at the fair, when I realized you'd been there that night, after the crash, I thought it would destroy me. But instead, it anchored me. Like, the universe was trying to hand me a second chance. She met his eyes. You took it. He nodded. Only because you didn't let me waste it. A pause. Then she said quietly, you remind me what grace looks like when it learns to walk again. He looked at her, long, searching, then smiled. You remind me what home feels like. Weeks passed. The three of them became inseparable. Sunday dinners at Nia's small apartment. Saturday morning dance practices in Ethan's newly brightened living room. Laughter that spilled past walls once filled only with silence. One evening, Nia found him sitting by the fireplace, the locket in his hand. You still wear it, she said. Every day, he replied. But it feels different now. It doesn't hurt the same way. She sat beside him. That's how you know you've healed. He looked at her. Have you? Almost, she said, smiling faintly. Still learning. Maybe we can learn together. Her breath caught, soft, surprised. Before she could reply, Amara burst in, clutching a school flyer. Mommy. Mr. Rhythm. There's a family dance night again next month. You both have to come. They laughed. Nia said, we'll see, baby. Amara crossed her arms. No, we'll see. You promise to dance this time, Mommy. Ethan grinned. She's got you there. Nia threw him a look. Don't start with me, Mr. Rhythm. He raised both hands. Hey, I'm just the student here. Amara hopped away, humming. Nia and Ethan sat quietly for a long while afterward. He finally said, voice low, if I ask you to dance that night, will you? Nia met his gaze. You better not step on my feet. They both laughed, but something in the air shifted, charged, real. A few days before the dance, a heavy storm hit the city. The community center roof leaked, the event risked cancellation. Ethan arrived soaked, sleeves rolled, helping staff move boxes. Nia watched him, drenched but determined. You really don't stop, do you? Not anymore, he said. I spent too long stopping. Together, they swept rainwater off the floor, working side by side while thunder rumbled outside. When the power flickered, Ethan reached for her hand. Their fingers stayed linked longer than necessary. Lightning flashed. She looked up. What? He asked. Nothing, she said softly. You just look like you finally belong here. He smiled, squeezing her hand. Maybe I do. When the night finally came, the gym looked familiar yet new, brighter, warmer, alive. The banner read, Dance with the ones who lift you up. Amara stood in the middle of the floor, a pink bow in her hair. Ethan adjusted his jacket, Nia fussed with her dress. You ready? Nia asked. I was born ready, he joked, earning an eye roll from both of them. The first song began, What a Wonderful World. Amara took both their hands. Now it's your turn, she said firmly. Together, the three of them stepped onto the floor. Ethan led gently, Nia followed, Amara giggled between them. The crowd clapped. The music swelled. He whispered, "I told you I'd practice." She whispered back, "I can tell." Amara twirled out, shouting, "See? I told you everyone can dance if they try." And for that brief, spinning moment, under string lights and laughter, grief and guilt vanished, replaced by something bigger, peace. Later that night, as the crowd filtered out, Ethan lingered in the gym. The lights dimmed. He walked to the corner where he'd first met Amara months ago, the same spot by the refreshment table. He could still hear her small voice echoing, "Can you be my dance partner, please?" He smiled, closing his eyes. "Always." From behind, Nia spoke softly. "She's asleep in the car." He turned. "That fast?" She danced her heart out. They stood facing each other, the gym empty but full of memories. "You know," she said, "for someone who doesn't dance, you've become pretty good at it." "Had a great teacher," he said. A pause. He reached out, brushing her hand lightly. "Nia." She stepped closer. "Ethan." The silence said the rest. The dance garden thriving with families each weekend. Ethan reading bedtime stories to Amara while Nia dozes on the couch. A new foundation launch, the Rhythm Project, supporting single parents and grief counseling through art and dance. A photo of the three of them framed on his desk, smiling, mid-laugh. Under the same night sky that once witnessed his loneliness, Ethan Ward finally felt whole again. Not because wealth returned his purpose, but because a barefoot girl with a paper crown taught him that healing happens one step, one twirl, one heartbeat at a time. Spring melted quietly into early summer. The dance garden bloomed with color, tulips curling open by the benches, laughter ringing from the slides, the circular dance pad glowing with every step. On a warm Saturday morning, the park held its first community family day. The banner above the gate read, "Keep dancing." A celebration of love, loss, and second chances. Children painted faces, parents barbecued, old couples swayed near the fountain. Ethan stood near the stage in rolled sleeves, clipboard in one hand, phone in the other, pretending to organize volunteers, though everyone knew he was really just waiting for two specific people. He spotted them through the crowd, Nia in a flowing yellow dress, Amara skipping beside her, wearing a bright red ribbon that caught the wind. "Mr. Rhythm!" Amara shouted. "We're late because Mommy took forever." "Hey!" Nia protested, laughing. "Someone had to look decent next to the billionaire." "You look perfect," Ethan said, instantly, and meant it. Their eyes met, sunlight catching between them like a promise. The community had organized a special performance, a tribute dance dedicated to all those who taught us how to move again. Amara's class lined up in pairs, barefoot on the dance pad. Music swelled. The familiar trumpet, the voice everyone knew by heart. "I see trees of green." Ethan felt his throat tighten. He looked at Nia, who smiled knowingly. "You okay?" she whispered. "It still hurts," he said quietly. "But in a good way." "That's healing," she said. "Hurt's different when it's closing." As the song continued, Amara twirled into the center, bowing dramatically. Then, holding out her hand toward Ethan and Nia, she called through the microphone. "Come on. You promised you'd dance." The crowd erupted with cheers. Ethan laughed, shaking his head, but Nia was already pulling him forward. "She gets that bossiness from you," he muttered. "From you," she corrected. They joined her on the dance pad. For a moment, it was chaos, laughter, tangled hands, missed beats, but it didn't matter. The pad lit up beneath their feet, each color chasing the next like joy made visible. At the final note, Amara leaned against Ethan's leg, breathless. "Told you we could make the world dance again." He smiled down at her. "Guess you were right, little one." Later, after the crowd drifted toward the food stalls, Ethan slipped away for a moment of quiet. He found himself beneath the willow tree at the far end of the park, the one he'd planted months earlier in memory of Lily and Claire. The small bronze plaque at its base read, "For every heartbeat that still learns to dance." He crouched beside it, placing the silver locket gently in the soil. "You're home now," he murmured. "But I'll keep dancing, just like you wanted." He looked up, and there they were. Nia and Amara, walking toward him, sunlight trailing behind them. "We wondered where you went," Nia said softly. "Just saying hello," he replied. Amara crouched next to the plaque, curious. "Is that your family?" He nodded. "Yes. And somehow, they led me to mine." Nia's eyes shimmered. "You mean us?" He smiled. "If you'll have me." The words weren't rehearsed, they came the way all truth does, gently, unexpectedly. Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out something small, a new paper crown, carefully laminated. "Do you remember this?" Amara gasped. "My crown. You kept it." "Of course. You gave it to me the night you changed my life." He handed it to her, then turned to Nia, suddenly nervous. "I've spent years building things that didn't last. Money fades. Success fades. But what you and Amara gave me, it made me believe in forever again." Nia blinked, her hand rising to her lips. He continued, voice thick. "So, I have to ask, and not as Mr. Rhythm or the billionaire everyone talks about, but as a man who finally learned how to dance again." He looked at Amara first. "Amara Robinson, will you keep being my dance partner?" She grinned so wide it hurt to look at her. "Forever and ever." Then he turned to Nia, heart pounding. "And Nia, will you let me keep learning beside you?" She laughed through tears. "You're really asking me that here? In front of everyone?" "The first time you saw me dance was in front of everyone," he said, smiling. "Feels only fair." She shook her head, laughing harder now, crying at the same time. "You're impossible." "Is that a yes?" "That's a yes," she said, throwing her arms around him. The crowd noticed, then erupted into applause. Someone yelled, "Spin her, Mr. Rhythm." So he did. Under the tree, in the same awkward, heartfelt way he had that first night. And for once, the world didn't feel like it was watching, it felt like it was cheering them home. A warm morning at the dance garden. Children run across the field, volunteers plant new flowers along the fence. A sign near the gate reads, "The Rhythm Family Foundation, helping the world dance again." A familiar voice calls out from the swings. "Mom! Dad! Look how high I can go." Amara's laughter rings across the park. Ethan and Nia sit on a bench nearby, holding coffee cups, watching her soar. Nia leans her head on his shoulder. "She still calls you Mr. Rhythm, you know. I'd be disappointed if she stopped. I think she likes reminding you who taught you everything." He chuckles. She's not wrong. They sit in comfortable silence, watching the world they built breathe. Sometimes, Ethan says, I still wake up expecting the house to be empty. And then I hear her singing down the hall. Nia smiles. That's life's way of saying, you made it through. He glances at her, voice low. No. We made it through. That evening, the three of them returned to the community gym, the same one where it all started. The janitor unlocks the doors, letting them in after hours. The floor gleams, freshly waxed. Ethan stands in the same corner by the refreshment table, smiling. Right here, he murmurs. This is where I almost said no. Amara giggles. Good thing you didn't. She hops onto the center of the floor, holding out her hands dramatically. Okay, you two. One last time before bedtime. And I'm leading. He exchanges a mock terrified glance with Nia. We'd better follow instructions. Music plays from a phone speaker. What a wonderful world. The lights dim. Streamers sway in the air conditioning. They dance. Clumsy, warm, real. Halfway through the song, Amara whispers the line that began it all. Can you be my dance partner, please? Ethan kneels to her level, smiling softly. Always. He looks to Nia, reaching for her hand. Can I be yours, too? She nods. You already are. They keep dancing, slow, imperfect, glowing in the soft gym light. The camera would fade out here if it were a film, the three of them turning under strings of gold, the world outside quiet, the song looping its final line. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. A montage rolls. Amara teaching younger kids dance at the garden. Nia running a new community health initiative with Ethan's foundation. The playground plaque catching sunlight, for those who keep dancing, even when it rains. Ethan, Nia, and Amara at home, dinner table laughter, music in the background. Cut to a close-up of the silver locket on the mantle, now engraved with 3 names. Lily. Claire. Amara. Beneath it, a new photo, the 3 of them mid-laugh, hands joined, mid-step. Sometimes, the universe doesn't fix what's broken. It gives you someone who teaches you to dance with the cracks instead. And when you do, even the rain sounds like music.